Good evening, everyone. Guys, has some mad stuff been happening again in the last 24 hours? Guys, we have got all sorts happening. We've got a declaration of war. We've got more airstrikes in the Middle East. We've got, what are they calling him now? Free Gear Kia or something. You know, we've got David Lammy absolutely throwing his foot in it and saying things that, I genuinely couldn't believe he said. And again, I'm hoping there's some misunderstanding, but the mainstream jumped all over this and it's caused an absolute diplomatic disgrace to the United Kingdom. We've got mass fall in sales in electric cars. Guys, we've got police officers now, not just police officers, sorry. We've got armed police officers now handing in their certification saying they don't want to be armed police officers anymore. Not only armed police officers, but police officers that, and again, I didn't even know this was a thing, but police officers that are qualified and authorized to use tasers, they're handing their certification in, guys. We're going to talk about that as well. Guys, so we have a situation now in the United Kingdom where it just seems that if you're a criminal, if you want to break the law, if you want to destroy this country, everything's fine. We'll look after you, we'll nurture you, we'll make sure you get the best treatment. If you're a law-abiding citizen and you've paid tax all your life, are you in for some trouble? Guys, absolutely wild times. Before we start though, guys, can you all do me a favor and like and share and subscribe or whatever it is you guys do with the buttons down there? It really helps me out with the algorithm as we're moving forwards. We had a great live this morning on our other platform. We had a subject matter expert on there. They were not grilling me, but they were asking me some awesome questions. We were talking about engine parts for drones. We were talking about the military industrial complex. We were even talking about space lasers. Guys, I've still not had a question on aliens. I'm hoping it's going to happen tonight. I really am. I'm getting so excited because I know one of you guys is going to ask me about aliens. Guys, it's been absolutely wild the last 24 hours. And what I want to say to you guys, and this is how I want to start basically, I'm going to put to you let's look back in time. Back in time, it was, when two countries had a fallout, they'd have an old-fashioned war. Country X would fall out with country Y. They'd declare war. They'd have a good scrap. Somebody would say, this is what we want. They'd say, no, this is what we want. They'd have a scrap. It'd get sorted out. But guys, I don't think we're ever going to have that again. I don't think we are ever going to have two countries saying, guys, you know what? We're at war with each other. I mean, look what's happening right now in Ukraine. And then again, in Russia. You've got two countries now having a mass conflict with each other. And I mean a mass conflict, guys. I mean, there was, what was it? There was an analysis done, I think it came out yesterday, and it said there's over 1 million casualties. 1 million casualties now, guys, in Ukraine. I don't know how that's broken up to fatalities, to life-changing injuries. I don't know how that's broken up. But guys, 1 million casualties. Take into consideration the 20 years Britain was in Afghanistan, we lost 457 people. With each one of those, normally for each fatality, you get about 7 with life-altering injuries. So that's kind of what happened in 20 years in Afghanistan. 1 million casualties in Ukraine. You've got the Russians taking part of Ukraine, claiming it for themselves. You've got the Ukrainians taking part of Russia, claiming it for themselves. Are we serious now? These guys are not at war with each other because neither country have declared a war. They're calling it a war, in closed circles, but nobody, Putin's not come out in any official, in any official capacity and said, I, Vladimir Putin, do hereby declare Russia is at war with. It's just not happened, guys. Neither has Zelensky come up and said, I, Vladimir Zelensky, do solemnly declare that we accept your challenge to a war. It's not happened, guys, right? Go and ask the Ukrainians if they're at war. Yes. Ask them when it was declared. And, you know, we're never going to have that situation where leaders get up and declare war. You know, it's going to be a special military operation. It's going to be a temporary incursion. It's going to be a stabilizing operation. They're going to frame it as something else, guys, because they don't want people to, you know, they don't want the people, you know, they want votes, basically. And they don't want anything to, you know, anything to affect the status quo. Again, absolutely insane. So, guys, let's just get into this absolute craziness, shall we? Guys, like I said, don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe. We're getting videos taken down now. Sometimes they just vanish into the ether. Sometimes I don't even know what, guys, you know. Like I said, guys, let's just get into this. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to share this, guys, so I don't, you know, because it is the, oh, I forgot to share things. How embarrassing. Where are we? There we are. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to share with you is the kind of the thumbnail to this live stream. So here it is, guys. Hezbollah leader calls walkie-talkie and pager attacks a declaration of war. Guys, let me put some context to this. While he was saying this, the Hezbollah leader, while he was doing this, the Israelis were started airstrikes on southern Lebanon. So, you know, and we're saying, oh, there's not a war. Guys, we're in this war. We're already in it. We're already at it. I don't care what anybody says. So let's just have a quick recap of what's happened from, what are we on now? Thursday. So Tuesday, we had pager explosions, pager bombs, pager devices, pager detonations. Absolutely insane. I thought I was living in an Austin Powers movie. Then the next day, we had the walkie-talkie explosions, a load of walkie-talkies exploding. Then today, the leader comes out of Hezbollah, what's his name? Hassan Nasrallah, I think. He's come out and he's giving a speech on how, you know, this is a declaration of war and, you know, Israel have crossed red lines. At the very same time, Israel sends in airstrikes as he's giving this speech. Guys, you couldn't make this up. And then we're still pretending we're not in a state of war. It's absolutely insane. What has to happen, right? Do Sky News need to come and tell you that we're in a state of war? Oh, we're not at war because BBC haven't told us to. No, of course BBC have not told us to. They're too busy looking at pictures on their phones. Guys, we're living in a clown world. We really are. So that's what's been. So in the Middle East now, guys, right? It is an absolute, like, I want to say it's a tinderbox, but it's actually in flames. Sorry. You know, you've got all this stuff happening at the moment. I mean, Israel and Lebanon, Hamas, whatever you want to call it. You know, these guys have been throwing rockets at each other on an almost daily basis since like October the 7th, I'll say. You know, so this is just, we talk about escalation and people say that the Israelis shouldn't have done this strike. Guys, we need to stop thinking about what's right and wrong in these wars. People are at war, all right? And whether you you can disagree with the war, that's fine. You can't really, if you're not part of that situation, it's very difficult to look at these from Western eyes. It's very difficult if you live in northern Israel, for example. It's very difficult to say that you're not under attack constantly from Hezbollah. Likewise, if you live in southern Lebanon, it's going to be very difficult to say you're not under constant attack from the Israelis. Guys, people need to stop being, we need to stop being in denial and just understand and accept what's coming, because it really is, guys. We are on the, we really are on the edge of this knife at the moment. I'm saying right now that what I said right away, guys, when I talked about these pages going kaboom, I said, guys, I actually think something may have happened, because I don't think they should have detonated them now. What I think they wanted to do was detonate them on a Friday. Obviously, bad things happen on a Friday. You have less people wanting to go to work. It's a very holy day in the Islamic world on Fridays. When I used to work work for a company out in Iraq, every Friday, guys, they would not, my locals, they wouldn't want to come in. So I just said to them, I said, right, guys, okay, let's try and get all the work done through the week. and don't bother coming in on Friday. And that's just, how we used to work things. So I understand how Friday is a very important is a very important day in the Islamic world. So when you're talking about planning these operations, a lot of them always get planned on a Friday. Because of that, you've got less people in work, people skive on a Friday, also the stock market closes on a Friday. So whether you want to make a ton of money or whether you want to minimize your losses, depending on which way of that, which way on those scales you are, if it happens on a Friday, you can kind of, manipulate the stock, not manipulate the stock market, but you can have it play in your favor. So, there's a whole bunch of reasons why large attacks, large events, big things happen on a Friday. It's just easier to have, politicians have gone home, all sorts of stuff, guys. So straight away, when these pages went off, I did a video on it. I said, right, guys, I think there may have been a security breach here because I'm not sure why this didn't happen on a Friday. Because what you would do normally when you take out somebody's communications, this is like old military strategy. This can go way back to like, the days of like people with swords and stuff. When they used to have the flags up and one flag meant send the infantry and the other flag meant send the archers. You would try and take out the flag bearer because the flag bearer is the communicator. So if you can't communicate, you can't control that battlefield. Nothing's changed. Still, communications is key. Take out communications and you can't organize yourselves. So that's why I said, okay, they're not just taking the Hamas guys out, they're taking the communications devices out. It's like a win-win. Then they took out the walkie-talkies. I said, guys, they're going for their communications. I said, watch out for, there's going to, I would, if it was me dealing with this, there would probably be strikes afterwards. Then guess what? Today there's airstrikes. Guys, tomorrow it's Friday. So do not be surprised if you see more attacks, more bombings, more, mass crazy stuff happening. I genuinely don't know what's next, guys. It might be exploding, dive bombing pigeons for all I know. Because, guys, we're in 2024 and things are just getting weirder and weirder by the day. So the Middle East, guys, I'm not going to say it's a tinderbox anymore. It's ignited. It really has. I don't think there's any denying it. You've got the leader of Hamas now coming out and using the words, saying that this is a declaration of war. Again, whether he actually said that or not, guys, it doesn't matter. Mainstream media reporting it. The perception is that that's happened. What do I say on this channel all the time, guys? All right. The reality doesn't matter. It's the perception of that reality that matters. Because if we perceive something, then we believe it and we act on it. I've said this all along. At some point as well, we're going to be watching TV and we're not going to know what we're seeing. We're not going to know if it's true, false, somebody's AI, a mixture of AI and, and non-AI in the context of you've got the reporter sat here, the real reporter, the real human reporter, and he's talking to somebody, I don't know, who just looks like Vladimir Putin. And then the AI has done a deep fake over that guy, and then everything else will be the same. It won't be as good quality picture. And you think, oh, okay, maybe Vladimir Putin did say that. We don't know what's real anymore, guys. So what have we got next, guys? What have we got next? We've got the Israel airstrikes. We've got, guys, this situation in Lebanon, in Israel, it's going absolutely crazy. What I want to do, guys, I want to add quickly what one of you guys actually mentioned to us. You said that the Houthis, somebody said the Houthis were making tracks through Iraq, through Syria, to the Syrian border with Israel. Guys, these guys could be in place already, and you could see, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but Friday tomorrow, guys, remember what we always say about Fridays. We could have a situation tomorrow where, all these guys, all these Houthis that are at the Syrian border, they think, do you know what, guys? We're just going to help here. We're going to move in. We're going to go through the Golan Heights. We're going to keep pushing, and we're going to cause as much carnage as we can. When we're talking about a military, like a first world military NATO coalition, United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Poland, an invasion, you need tanks, you need logistics, you need food, you need water, you need food and water for the people who are providing the food and water. You need a load of stuff. When you're talking about one of these, these incursions in the Middle East, you've just got 50 blokes in the back of flatbeds and they're driving in going absolutely wild. I can remember when ISIS moved into Iraq, guys, the Iraqi army could not retreat quick enough. It was absolutely insane. At the time, I was in the green zone in Baghdad. Guys, it was terrifying. I mean, all our security guards, right? So the security guards who we used to pay to protect the green zone, as soon as this was happening, they threw their t-shirts on the floor and they ran off. You know, it's like, and it was just left to us then, the expats, the Westerners, to defend the green zone. It's that old saying, everybody wants to be a gangster until it's time to do gangster stuff. And then we've got David Lammy coming out, guys. David Lammy. Right, guys, I'm going to caveat by saying this. It's not his fault, all right? He shouldn't be in that position. He's been put in that position. He shouldn't be there. He's not qualified. He's not smart enough. He's not street smart enough. He's not savvy enough. You know, he just shouldn't be in that position, guys. So David Lammy's come out and he's, and he said, well, let's share this article with you guys because I don't want to. If I did, I shared the article earlier. So basically, David Lammy, that he said that there was a conflict in. I will share it with you guys because I don't want to get anything wrong. I don't want to get another video taken down for misinformation. So we'll just go with what this article says. David Lammy sparks diplomatic row after ignorant blog post on the Armenia crisis. David Lammy has been slammed as callous and ignorant after writing in a recent blog post that Azerbaijan has been able to liberate territory in a conflict described as ethnic cleansing. So while everybody's, while the British government, the OSCE, everybody, the Red Cross, all these international charities, these agencies, they're all saying, guys, this is ethnic cleansing. David Lammy's come out and said, it's actually liberation. Guys, and I do want to caveat this by saying the officials have asked David Lammy to clarify what he means. So until he shouldn't be saying this, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt again. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because I genuinely know he shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be in that position. So when we're talking about David Lammy, let's just put our kiddie gloves on. Like when you're having a little wrestle with your nephew in the garden and you're like, "Whoa!" Let's just treat David Lammy like that. He shouldn't be there, guys. The whole Labour government a lot of them shouldn't be in the position that they're in. We haven't got another choice, guys, for 5 years, so we just have to go with it. So what he's actually said, David Lammy, he's come out and he said, "Oh yeah, everybody." Well, he hasn't. He said I think it was a gaffe because he didn't understand the situation. But basically, you've got all these aid agencies, you've got all these real diplomats, guys. And by diplomats, I used to work for the British Embassy in Baghdad, and you meet some really good diplomats, really, really, really good diplomats. They know the country, they know the culture, and that's really important, guys. All right, because you can't, when you're trying to talk to somebody about, when you're the the foreign affairs minister, if you don't know something, you just need to shut up, all right? And don't pretend you know something, because like he's just done, he's just shown absolute ignorance. I think it was ignorance, guys, because I'm not convinced that if he knew what had happened, I don't think he would have said it. But equally, I don't know. But basically, everybody else has called it ethnic cleansing. I mean, there were old people, like elderly men being beheaded, guys, and there was footage going around the internet of this. And David Lammy's come out and called this the liberation. And this is the man who's going to have to go and, potentially negotiate with Sergei Lavrov. Guys, I am the most anti-Russian, anti-socialist, anti-communist person that there is. I believe that capitalism, I mean true capitalism, not what we have now, because right now in the United Kingdom, in the West, we don't have capitalism, guys. It's just a fact. We don't have capitalism. We have late-stage capitalism. So I'm taking off the cards what we have right now because we don't have capitalism. What I mean is true capitalism. And we don't have democracy either. We have like a uniparty. But what I mean is, I'm totally against the Russians. But, you've got to not admire. You've got to respect people. right? And I respect Sergei Lavrov, which he is as a political operator, because he's been in that job longer than dust, guys. And you've got like people like David Lammy who just haven't got a clue. I keep saying this, guys, and I'm, and I don't want to be overcritical on him because he just shouldn't be there. It's kind of like, if you give your kids something that's just, then they're never going to be able to do it. You can't really tell them off for not doing it. But that's kind of the point, guys. He shouldn't be there in the first place. We have got a lot of capable people in this country. We've got a lot of capable ex-diplomats. We've got a lot of people that can do that job. And I just hope, guys, I really do. I hope that these people are surrounding him and, and just not protecting him, but making sure he doesn't make an absolute gaff of things. Because what it looks like is, if he's left to his own devices, he's just, things just go wrong. So David Lammy, at the moment, he's been an absolute, I don't want to say he's been he's been a disgrace, guys. There's absolutely no way I can sugarcoat it, guys. If he doesn't come out and make a public apology, it's an absolute disgrace and it's an absolute humiliation, guys. All right. There's no way you can call genocide. There's no way you can call ethnic cleansing. You just can't call it liberation, guys. It's like it should be on a T-shirt somewhere. A picture of David Lammy. I think he's going to be on a lot of T-shirts very soon, guys. So what else guys? I'm just conscious that the chat is going absolutely bonkers. We've got another story that the Indian ammunition now is making it. I'll put all these links in the description. We've got another story that Indian ammunition is making its way into Ukraine. Now, guys, that doesn't sound like much of a story unless you know this, the military-industrial, this procurement process. So where do I start with this? So back in like 2022, when this invasion happened, there was a mad rush for ammunition. There was lots of wild operators. There were really, really mercenary people who were just making fake paperwork, trying to get things signed. The Ukrainians were flapping. They were just trying to get ammunition in. A lot of money got lost. A lot of money got stolen. A lot of kit and equipment never turned up. A lot of kit and equipment was just never there in the first place. Obviously, now things are not calmed down, but now the process has been it's been better understood and more streamlined. Ammunition capacities are up. Ammunition at the moment, as one of the guys said on our stream earlier, and I don't know if this is true, but I certainly I don't know if the numbers are correct, but ammunition capacity has certainly risen to a ridiculous amount. Because ammunition is in such short supply, the Ukrainians are now starting to buy, from this article that I'll put in the link in the description, the Ukrainians are starting to buy ammunition from India now, guys. So Indian ammunition is renowned for being unreliable. So what I think the Ukrainians are, I think this just shows the desperation. It just shows it just shows the incapacity, the lack of capacity for the West to supply Ukraine with enough ammunition. So if the Ukrainians are buying ammunition, which it says in this article, from the Indians, that means, that everybody knows that Indian ammunition, it's renowned, guys. It's not the best, but if the Ukrainians, which it's come out on mainstream and said if they are buying this means a few things. One, they are really struggling to meet the demand. Two, obviously the countries that are supplying them with the ammunition, they're either keeping it for themselves or they're just not being able to produce it. So what we can surmise from this, guys, and remember, this is me speculating, this is me looking at things and saying, yeah, this may happen, it may not happen. What we can speculate is, because this is happening, countries could now be looking at Ukraine, and guys, this is me speculating, countries could now be looking at Ukraine and saying, right, okay, yeah, Ukraine's about to fall. We know they're about to fall because of X, Y, and Z. We're not going to give them any more ammunition, because if we give them any more ammunition, that means it's ammunition we don't have. And I'm talking about Poland here, guys. Poland's the one I'm thinking about. So Poland, if they feel Ukraine is about to fall, they're not going to give any more ammunition because they're going to need that themselves. Of course, they want to fight the war as far away from them as they can. You know, it makes sense. Why would you fight the war in your own country when the Ukrainians are fighting? You can just supply the Ukrainians and let the Ukrainians fight as much as you can. But at some point, when you see the Ukrainian front line crumble, when you see the Ukrainians about to lose Pokrovsk, when you see whatever they're seeing on the front lines, guys, and I don't know, I'm just speculating, but if they've seen this, it would make perfect sense for them to say, right, okay, yeah, those 100,000 120 millimeter shells I was going to send you, yeah, they're not coming. We're going to keep them ourselves, because they know they're not going to have any effect, and the Russians are just going to come, and you would need, and that would be an extra 1,000, and again, 1,000 is a small number, you know, or whatever it is, 10,000, a million. You would want to keep that ammunition for yourselves. So then, in that context, the Ukrainians would have to look for another supplier. And guys, if they're going to India, it means that their supply is running very, very short. So that's what it could mean, guys. I don't know if that's what it does mean. I'm speculating. I'm, using my brain. I'm using my analytical skills. What else have we got, guys? What else have we got? We have got Keir Starmer. I will share this one with you guys, because this is, guys, I'll share this one with you, and then we'll come on to we'll go on to the chat. So I forgot how to do it again. Guys, don't forget to like and follow and share, because I really appreciate it when you guys do that. We're going to be live every night at 8 on this platform, and then we're going to be live in the day on our other platform. We're doing loads of stuff, guys. We're actually building a studio. I had the internet woman out today. I want to say internet guy. It was a woman. It was weird. She came out and she was like, right, okay, I can't do that for you. I was like, why? She says, well, we can only put Wi-Fi in your house, and that's like an outbuilding. I was like, right, okay. I said, so what do I need to do? She said, right, you need to run an Ethernet cable. So I need to go and get 100 meters of Ethernet cable and get some bits. So I've got an internet connection in the studio that we're building. But, we're going to get that, guys. And I want to start having guests on, just people coming in, doing live shows, having a guest, maybe even having a drink with you guys on a Friday night, having a little glass of port, having a little glass of gin. Who knows where it goes, guys? It might get weird. What was I going to do? I was going to share this screen, wasn't I? Yeah, about what is it? What are they calling him now? Free Gear Keir. I'm going to share you a story about Free Gear Keir. So Keir Starmer's £35,000 in free tickets. I mean, that's phenomenal, isn't it? Puts football regulator plans under scrutiny. So remember what I said earlier, guys, in my video, I said, there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's no such thing as a free gift. They all want something. Every time you get a free gift, they will always want something. And I gave the analogy of when I was in the army and I knew I was going to get told off for something. I'd always go with a gift, a crate of beer, a crate of Gatorade, some food, some sandwiches for everyone. Because then if you go into that office knowing you're going to get a bollocking and you've got a crate of beer and you're like, all right, lads, what's happening? Yeah, I've just brought you this crate of beer. I thought you might be thirsty, or obviously not in work time unless it's a Friday. You know what I mean? It's very difficult when you're on the other side of that, when somebody's giving you a gift. It's very difficult to bollock them. So always beware of people giving you a gift, guys. There's no such thing as free gifts. Anyway, so Keir Starmer's £35,000 in free to, 35,000K. Who knows what that means? I mean, there's a pound sign. Guys, it's 2024. I don't believe anything. In free tickets I forgot how to talk. Puts football regulator plans under scrutiny. MPs demand forensic look at Labour plans to protect football pyramid in light of Premier League hospitality. So it turns out the Premier League have been giving Keir Starmer a load of free stuff, and now they're saying there's a conflict of interest as his government prepares to bring in a new regulator opposed by the industry. And guys, this is what we're talking about. Free gifts for stuff. And then Lord Ali pops up again. Guys, well, I'm going to talk about Lord Ali now, actually. So when we're talking about these free gifts and it's just Keir Starmer because he likes, he likes a good Keir Starmer. He loves a game of football. And guys, it's like, I don't know how old he is, like in his 50s or something. He could do a losing a couple of stone, but it's up to him. Keir Starmer, he's in his 50s. What's he doing going to like I don't know, guys. You know, Taylor Swift concerts. I mean, really? Is that how you roll now, mate? You know, and you let other dudes buy your clothes, guys. Lord Ali. I don't know how I start with this one. Right, guys. I'm not actually going to talk about Lord Ali. I want you guys to Google, research who Lord Ali is. All right, Lord Wahid Ali. When you're doing it, just think of these things. There's no left and right of politics. There's no left and right in the world. There's no these warring factions. I remember when, if you remember, like roundabout, I want to say 2015, 2016. Remember when the Panama accounts came out? When it was like a big scandal that all these politicians and world leaders were snaffling their money away in Panama, because nobody uses Swiss bank accounts anymore. That is like so 1980s. You know, they're all snaffling their money away in Panama. Can you remember that? I don't know if you can or not. I've not got a link on it because I've just come up with this now. So remember when that was happening? The president of Ukraine, Poroshenko, and Vladimir Putin, they both banked in the same place. And it was just absolutely insane. And it was a real eye-opener to me. It was like, hang on a minute. These guys go like, they bank in the same like obscure bank in Panama. That's a bit weird. So like, you know, if you think, guys, all right, think there's no left and right. There's no us and them. There's just, by us and them, I mean left and right of politics. You know, it's a perceived, you know, look what's happened now. I mean, you used to have the Republican Party in the United States who were like the warring party and they wanted to go war with everyone. And you used to have the Democrats who were like, oh, you know, peace and love to everyone. Those guys have totally switched round. They've done a literal switcheroo. You know, and it just seems to me that it's just smoke and mirrors, guys, to keep people guessing. I think we're heading towards a war of, you know, industrial scale, guys. I really do. I don't see any way around it. But guys, do not forget, go and do some research into Lord Ali. The rabbit hole is deep. When you're doing it, think about that, guys. Think about think about subversion. Think about what I've said about, you know, ideological subversion. Think about money. Think about where he's getting his money from. Think about who he's worked for and the ties and the connections they've been with. Guys, I'm not going to speculate anything. You speculate for yourselves. So I don't want any more videos to get taken down. So, guys, we are going to go to, in fact, guys, I'm just going to do one more for you guys. Am I going to share? No. So let me look at the headline real quick. Yeah. So Germany have suffered a 70% drop in electric car sales. One of the very first videos I did on our other platform, I was talking about electric cars, guys, and I was saying they're done. They're over. Like they serve no, they don't fill any gap. And I said in like 20 years or something, we're all going to look back. We're going to be driving hydrogen cars, whether that's hydrogen fuel cells or I think it will be hydrogen combustion because, you know, hydrogen is the most abundant, hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe or the known universe. You know, we don't need any more hydrogen. We've got it. We can produce it with solar electrolysis. It's there. It's readily available. So we're all going to be driving hydrogen cars, guys. Make no mistake about it. Now, whether that's hydroelectric, where you're using hydrogen fuel cells to convert the hydrogen into electricity, or whether you're just doing the good old-fashioned burning it and using an internal combustion engine and burning hydrogen, I genuinely don't know. But we're all going to look back at electric cars and sit and think, guys, what were we thinking? You know, like those, remember in the 90s where we all used to wear those Eclipse jeans and those, like, you know what I mean, with like the stitched on like gangsters and stuff. We're all going to look back like we did on our Eclipse jeans and we're going to say, guys, what were we thinking? Anyway, guys, so that's kind of what's been happening in the world. You know, it's been absolutely insane. The main story, guys, is this Middle East, this declaration of war. It's going wild. It's going mad. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't think we're ever going to come to a stage where we're going to get a world leader come up on the stage and say, I, Keir Starmer, do hereby declare we're at war with country X or country Y. I just don't think it's going to happen, guys. Like I said, special military operation, limited military incursion, whatever you want to call it. There'll be a different name for it, but that's the reality, guys. That's the way we are going. Anyway, guys, let's have a look what's been happening in the chat. And I hope all you guys are sober, because last night I was reading some of the comments and I was like, I think some of these guys are drunk, which, guys, I applaud it if you're drunk. I just can't read your messages. So where are we? Iran's, right, guys, I'm going to go right to the top. Hi, Kirsty. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Alexander. Katie starting. Katie starting. I love that name. Katie starting. I'm glad you've started, Katie. Hey, Sharon. Miss Joyce. Kenzie McKelland. 3.5 Men. Hi, Sean. I can watch ton. I don't know what that means. I can finally watch tonight. Sorry, mate. Not working. I saw your next comment. Is the Middle East on the brink, if not on full-out scale war? Yeah, like we just said, I don't think we're ever going to get to this stage where people are going to be calling a war. I just don't think it. Look at what's really happening in the Middle East. I gave this, look where people are spending their money as well, guys. I gave the analogy earlier on, like, if your kids, imagine this, guys, right? It's coming up to summer. Summertime's coming, you've told your kids, and I've done this before, guys, summertime's coming, you've told your kids that you're going camping at the weekend, at the summer holidays. Your kids are being naughty, they're not brushing their teeth, they're not brushing their hair, they're not making their bed, they're just laying on their beds playing with their phones, they won't do anything, and you're like, right, we're not going camping unless you do this, you're being naughty, we're not going. Okay. And then your kids see you go to the camping store every other weekend, and you're buying tents, extra tent poles, tarpaulins, what are them things, gazebos, blow-up mattresses, sleeping bags, camping food, noodles, bottled water. Your kids are like, not going camping, are we? Yeah, all right. Guys, so this is the reality of the situation when we're talking about these conflicts. Look all around the world at the moment. Ammunition manufacturers are in full supply. They can't produce enough. And, like we just said about the Ukrainian instance, they're now buying ammunition from India. India is renowned to have ammunition that fails, guys. It is. So if they're having to resort to that, that just shows you how scarce the ammunition is. Isn't it interesting that the BBC is currently live streaming the border on Lebanon, similar to Ukraine and Gaza? Do you think Israel will send their troops in tonight? Kenzie McKelland, all right, I think bad things happen on a Friday. Like I said, in fact, let me get this one up. This is a good one. Kenzie McClellan, isn't it interesting? The BBC is currently live streaming the border on Lebanon, similar to Ukraine and Gaza. Do you think Israel will send their troops tonight? Guys, I think if anyone's going to send their troops at all, it will be tomorrow night. People go home early on a Friday. Friday is an important day in the Islamic world. It's just easier to get things done on a Friday. The stock market's closed. So if there's going to be a mass spike or a mass drop, you can make a shit ton of money if you know that's happening. So, and again, I'm not speculating this happens because I'm sure everybody around the world follows the rules when it comes to insider trading, and especially Nancy Pelosi. I know that Nancy Pelosi never used to talk to her husband about what was happening in the, in the US, in the US Senate and the House of Representatives. So I know that doesn't happen, guys, because it's illegal, and I know Nancy Pelosi would never do anything. I just know that Nancy Pelosi is also the most successful stock trader ever. No coincidence, guys. There's no coincidence. There's no conspiracy. But if you know something's going to happen, if you know a big event's going to happen, you can bet on the stock market and you can make a shit ton of money. So why wouldn't you do that, guys? If you can make a shit ton of money, why wouldn't you? And for you guys there at home as well, this is not financial advice, although it may sound like it. Guys, we all need to have more money and we all need to be fitter. Everything else is semantics, all right? If you've got a lot of money, your problems are a lot easier to deal with. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, oh, but, money doesn't X, Y, and Z. Guys, trust me. I've been on projects, work projects. And when you've got a project that you've got an unlimited budget, it's just so much easier to deal with. When you're on a project that you've got a budget restraints and you've got all sorts of, financial restrictions, it's very hard to make things work. So, you know, guys, on a personal level, and it's up to you if you take this or not. And again, obviously not financial advice. It's just my speculation. All right. Everybody needs more money and everybody needs to be fitter. Oh, got flying here. Sorry, guys. Let me turn this one down. Take this one down. So yeah, I think I got to that. Hi everyone. James Weevil. Am I saying that right? They call it military operation nowadays. Yeah. So like we're just saying nobody is ever going to declare a war again. I don't think anyway. Good evening, everyone. Do you think German soldiers going to Poland to help with the floods is just a ruse? I didn't actually know about that, guys. So apparently German soldiers are going to Poland to help with the floods is just a ruse. No, I don't. I don't think it's just a ruse. No, they don't need a ruse. You know, they're moving a lot of troops around that area anyway. You know, nobody's going to question a ton of tanks going into Poland. You know, you've got lots of bases out there. You've got lots of, you know, heavy movement and tanks already out there as well. Poland, I think Poland's got the biggest military in Europe, certainly on paper. So I don't think they would need that much reinforcement. So, you know, again, it may just be they are helping with the floods. I don't know. I'll have a look into it and I will get back to, and I will talk about that tomorrow. Got to be something massive going on with all these constant events and distractions. Ghostbox, what a fantastic name. I don't know what that picture is, but I love it. Yeah, guys, I think Edward Snowden said it best on one of it. Like, I think he was doing a Joe Rogan interview, and Edward Snowden said the biggest conspiracies, they're not the ones hidden behind closed doors. They're not the one hidden in dark rooms with people smoking by candlelight. They're the ones that are out there in the open. They're the ones that get passed through Parliament. They're the ones that get passed through Congress. So, you know, this could be like a big distraction to something else that's happening. You know, what's going through our parliaments, what's going through our local governments. And the reality is we probably won't know until it's too late. What I will say is what I think is most important is remember how we said about this House Resolution 559 in America, which says that a nuclear-armed Iran is unacceptable to America and to the region. Guys, when this passed, like, I was like one of the only people who we didn't, our channels wasn't as big, and if you got, I don't know how you would, but we've certainly done a video on it, you know. And I said, guys, you know, this is something in the weeds. This is weird that this is being put out there and it just passed instantly. So if we look at this global, you know, look at everything holistically now, do we really think, and I know I've said this before, do we really think the supreme leader of Iran is sat there with Sergei Lavrov and all his nuclear engineers, and, you know, and the supreme leader saying, okay, sir, okay, so I can't do it. I'm not doing Arabic, guys. I've been doing Eastern European too long. And, you know, and he's saying to Sergei, he's saying, listen, Sergei, sure, he's interpreter, obviously. He's saying, Sergei, listen, mate, I know we've given you these Shahed drones. Thank you very much for coming out here with your nuclear technicians and, you know, and all your schematics and your enrichment program. I thank you so much for coming out here and showing me and offering to lend your services. But, you know, Joe Biden's told us we're not allowed to accept your help because of like sanctions and stuff. So you're going to have to go home until Joe Biden lets us. Do we really think that's happening, guys? Or do you think they're down there, the Russians, the Iranians, the North Koreans, in one of these mountains in Iran that nobody knows about with these deep underground tunnels? Remember, guys, when we're talking about tunnels, deep underground tunnels, and these deep underground complexes, you dig down and then you put all your earth-moving equipment underground, and then you dig underground while your machines are underground. And you can't spot this. You can't spot this by satellite, guys, because it's deep underground. And do we really think that the Iranians are not working on this now? Do we really think that did I say Ukrainians? I hope I didn't. I meant the Iranians. Do we really think the Iranians don't have an enrichment program assisted by the Russians? Really? Do we really think that's happening? All it's going to take is for something to come out, a leak. You know, by leak, I mean a document to come out. And this sounds to me, it really does, guys. It feels like the build-up to the Iraq war, where, you know, we might get some MI5 sort of document where they're saying, oh, the Iranians have managed to upscale their enrichment program, and there'll be some pictures of some scientists or something, or maybe Billingcat will do a report on the scientists, and they'll trace these back to the Russian atomic energy, whatever they call it, facility. And then, this will progress. And then America, when Trump's in charge, they'll be like, God damn, they're like, the Iranians cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they can't eat our cats or our dogs. So it's just going to be wild, guys, and we're heading towards that. And if you understand that we're heading towards it, everything just becomes, you can see everything for what it is. Absolutely insane. Yeah, James Brook, communication is key in warfare. Hezbollah communications has been almost destroyed. This is what you do, guys. You destroy someone's communications before you strike them. That is what you do in warfare all the time. If you go on a sniper course, they will teach you, don't take out the commanders first, take out the communications. Because if you take out the communications, the commanders are commanderless. They can't do anything. If you take out the commander, the guy with the communications, the guy with the radio, he can still send a situation report, a sit rep. You can still get reinforcements. If you take out the communications, everybody's buggered. So Tim Linsky, what have I missed? That's a lovely picture, Tim. Is that your living room, mate? That is beautiful. What have I missed, Tim? We're going to be putting this. This will go on our channel. I don't know what you've missed. You missed 11 minutes. I have no idea what I was waffling about 11 minutes ago. What else have we got? Kenzie, if Hezbollah and the Houthis work together. Yeah, so that's what I said. So Kenzie McKellen, if Hezbollah and the Houthis work together, do you think it's possible for Iran to get involved? So Iran's already involved in this. Iran is the overarching, they're the overarching controller. Nothing happens without Iran. Iran are the financiers, they're the dictators, they're like the puppeteer at the back. So Iran is already involved. With the Houthis now, like I said earlier, we could have a situation where the Houthis may want to do a ground invasion through the Golan Heights into Israel. Also, some of you guys are saying, because the BBC are now live streaming on the border, that could mean that there's a ground invasion imminent. I don't know if that's going to happen. What I did say is, normally with these ground invasions, you would see a mass buildup of tanks, logistics, food, water, supplies. But because of the proximity of, they're bordering countries, you kind of don't need that mass, that mass of troops are mounting on the border, because they're already kind of there. And also you can bring them relatively close and disguise them. So I don't know. I think if it's going to happen, it will happen tomorrow, guys, on Friday. Like I said, tomorrow it's also tomorrow in the Islamic world. Friday, it's an important day. People like to have the day off work. They like to Skype. They don't want to turn up. And lots of other reasons, guys. Stock market, what's the other one? Stock market, and and in the West as well, politicians aren't in office. Politicians have gone home for the weekend, so it's a lot harder to get things done. Not a lot harder, but just those added little bits of difficulty, they're all added as well. Who do I think's a bigger idiot, Lamy or Trudeau? Pino, I'm gonna say Lamy, because do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to say Lamy because I'm British and, I wouldn't want to comment on Canada. But what I will say is, why is Justin Trudeau, why does he cry all the time? I mean, he's literally like, he's cruising around, like doing wild stuff, crying when he does something wrong, crying when he does something right. Like, how is he still in a position of power, guys? I genuinely don't know. But what I do know, and I have to respect him for it, guys, he's got fantastic hair. Nobody can deny that, guys. He might cry. He might be a buffoon. He might not be liked by Canadians. But, guys, you have to respect his hair. What else have we got? Iran are already involved. So I think Kenzie did. Iran's already involved. I think you're replying to Kenzie. What else have we got, guys? Predictive text. Sean, people here can't speak to each other. Sean, people on here can't speak to each other. We could the other night. I don't know what that is. I honestly don't know. I don't know how the chat's gone. Guys, I'm relatively new to all this streaming and stuff. The software I've got, it's like StreamYard or something. So I'm just learning how to use it. Maybe I totally monged it with the settings. I'll have a look in the settings and I'll try and get that resolved for tomorrow. Where's that? Put that one away. What do you think about ammo dump that was taken out, 3,000 tons or something? Yeah, we spoke about this last night, this ammo dump. And earlier on our live stream on the other platform, you know, I don't think this was drones. Well, if it was, so there's a couple of options it could be. So what we're talking about here is this huge ammunition depot that, or whatever it was, that just went up in Russia. Mainstream media are saying that this was a Ukrainian drone strike. Straight away, I was like, right, okay. When you're talking about these ammunition storage depots, these huge storage facilities, they're made with a ton of concrete, guys, because if you've got an ammunition storage depot, it's a target. There's no two ways about it. So they make these things, you know, really to resist these things. And guys, the Russians love concrete. They really do. So I'm going to say these are like the thickest ammo depots that you've probably ever seen. What I will say, though, I'll be fair. I'll say what could have happened is, and again, me speculating, it could have been a situation where US or whatever satellite went over, spotted that the Russians were about to do a big attack. They've moved a load of ammunition forwards. There's been that much ammunition at that location. They've just had to have it out in the open because the bunkers, they were already, they're already full. At this, at this point, the Ukrainians could have released their reserve drone force for. And when you're talking about drones, they're not just firing these things when they can. These things, these drone wars and these drone attacks, they'll have an operational department, a servicing department, they'll have a reserve department, and that reserve department will be, so you do three things. It's called assault, suppress, and reserve, but we'll not go into that. So the reserve department on the drones, it might be called something else, guys. It could be sort of like opportunist targets or something, but it'll basically be a load of drones that, and again, this is me speculating, this is how I do it. I'd have a load of drones set back in reserve, and I say, right, if any large targets appear or there's any opportunist targets, I've got 100, 500 drones right now ready to go. I keep them in reserve. That's my reserve. So what it could be is the satellite went over the, over this ammo depot, because they know where it is, and it saw a load of ammunition out in the open, and they're like, right, send the reserve to go and take that out. That could have happened, guys. Also, what could have happened is this could have been a kinetic strike by a bunker busting missile, a Western NATO bunker busting missile that could have gone in, taken that out, and made it explode. Then you would follow that through with a load of drones, just litter the area with drone parts, and then it becomes difficult to identify any parts of anything because there's drones everywhere, wrecked fuselages, wrecked bits of metal, and it's difficult to piece together what's from what. So they're the two options it could have been, guys. We don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know. What we do know is it was a huge explosion and a massive escalation in this war. We also know that Putin has said if the West use these long-range missiles by West, guys, as far as Putin's concerned and the Russians are concerned, they're already at war with NATO. Remember what I said right at the beginning of this video, guys. None of these people are ever going to, come out there and say, I, Vladimir Putin, declare war on NATO or Ukraine. I mean, look, you go and ask the people in Ukraine, are they at war? Go and ask them. What will they say? And then ask them when Putin stood up and declared it officially. Guys, it's not, the whole concept that we think about war, it's literally changed. It changed when they started using these small fixed-wing helicopters, these small drones. It also changed in the last 48 hours now with this new phase of warfare, exploding pagers, exploding walkie-talkies. This is like a supply infiltration of non-military equipment. Guys, it's absolutely insane. We really are in wild times. And when you get these like generals and retired colonels, they're on TV and they're getting like X amount of pounds per year to be an analyst. And they're saying things like, yeah, the Russians will be defeated in 24 hours or whatever. guys, the Russians are not going to fight NATO. They're not going to fight in a fist fight if they know they're going to lose. It's just not going to happen. Where are we, guys? Kia really just wants everything for free. Yeah, that's what social is. So Kirsty's just put, Kia just really wants everything for free. Guys, that's socialism, all right? They're really good at redistributing other people's wealth, just not very good at redistributing their own. Glory to Jesus, and glory to Jesus as well. Good effort, a beautiful name, beautiful picture, and a beautiful comment. Hi everyone, Tim Linsky. I went to Home Bargains, bought an elastic exercising thing for £3, made a fantastic catapult out of it, great for prepping, hunting, and £3. Guys, there we are. We have got Home Bargains, apocalypse, prepping, catapult tips. So when we're ready, when the revolution comes, when Britain we invoke our Second Amendment, we're all going to rush down to Home Bargains and get catapults. And guys, something's better than nothing. YouTube user, what do you think of the potential business ramifications for UK SMEs should China invade Taiwan? I think like anything, it's going to, initially things will be bad, but it's going to depend on the industry, obviously. If you're in an industry like chip manufacturing, let's go so chip manufacturing, anything that's labor intensive, which unfortunately we don't really do much of at the UK at the moment. So, and again, what I will say is, I was talking to my friend who I'm trying to get on here. I'm not sure if he's watching, but I'm trying to get my friend on here. And he works for a company. I'm not going to mention the company, but I was talking to him, and I was saying how his company would be turned into a military company, building things for the military. And the reason I said that is their company have one of those big injection molding machines. I said, show me a picture of it. He showed me a picture of it. I said, right, that'll be used for making wing tips for drones or wings for drones. So it depends on the company, it depends on the industry. But I think if industry can be turned into military applications, it will be. If you look at Russia right now, guys, the Russian economy is stronger than it was before the 2022 invasion because of these sanctions that we've put on them. All these sanctions do. They hurt us. They hurt us because of oil, guys, all right? We don't produce enough oil, and everything comes from energy. I don't care what people say. I don't care about this green levy. I don't care about green taxes. I don't care about the green agenda. It's fake. It doesn't matter. It's not real. What is real is energy, and we get that, guys, from burning hydrocarbons. I don't see anything at the moment apart from hydrogen. Hydrogen is the future, guys, all right? Be under no illusion, at some point we're all going to have a hydrogen reactor in our homes. Everybody's going to be self-sufficient. We're going to be using solar powered electrolysis to make hydrogen in our own homes. That's the future, guys. It really is. I tried to get funding for one of those machines. I just couldn't do it. And then I realized that, trying to get funding off the government, it's almost impossible. They don't give funding to people who need it. They only give funding to their mates. It's wild, guys. Anyway, so guys, Layla Joyce keeps saying, good evening, everyone. So good evening to you, Layla Joyce. And I hope you're having a fantastic time. So yeah, that's going to be the reality of the future. Right now, we need oil, guys. We need to burn stuff. It's kind of what we do as humanity. Solar power, it's not there. Wind, it's not there. We had a situation last year where it just wasn't windy. We live on the top of a hill, and I notice when it's windy because we get that much wind blown into comes into that much space. So it wasn't windy, so the wind farms weren't working. So we had to import electricity from France. Right now, the Ukrainian power grid has been absolutely decimated by the Russians, guys. The Ukrainians are going to need to import a load of energy from Europe. So that's going to leave Europe in a short supply. Guys, if we have a situation this winter when temperatures really drop, guys, it's going to be absolutely catastrophic unless you've got a log burner with a plentiful supply of logs, unless you've got your own solar panel, unless you've got an energy efficient house. We could see really bad things happen this winter, guys, if the temperature drops. We've been really lucky the last 2 years that we haven't had a harsh winter. But guys, if we have a harsh winter this year, it's going to be absolutely catastrophic. What else have we got, guys? I'm just going through your comments right now. Remember that mountain they took in Afghan, allegedly explosions? I was at the dentist today. The radio, guys, we've got to watch this, read this one. I was on the radio today. The radio today was just about the Middle Eastern news. I was thinking, like, crazy times we're in. Yeah. So, guys, imagine, like, I don't know how old you guys are, but I kind of, when it was like the 90s, nothing like this was ever happening. I mean, like, the biggest, like, conflict news was like the protests in Northern Ireland on the is it Gavaki Bridge? Is it Gavaki Bridge or Dracan? I think it's the Gavaki Bridge in Northern Ireland. That was the biggest thing we saw on the news, as far as like violence and conflict happens. Then 9/11 happened, and we have literally been in a state of perpetual war, combat, people losing their lives since then. One thing I find really I don't like, guys, when people come on the news like David Lammy, and he says, we're gonna support Ukraine until they win. Like it's a game, guys. Like it's a game. Like we're gonna support Man United or whoever. We're gonna support Barnsley until they win. We've got to understand there's a human cost to this, guys, and I mean on all sides. For those of you who've been watching the channel, Kiev is one of the places we're potentially wanting to move to. I consider Kiev as my second city. I've got a lot of friends in Ukraine. I've done a lot for Ukraine. I've worked there. I've worked there essentially since 2014. So when I say this, I mean, you've got to consider the loss of life on both sides, because, you get young private soldiers from both sides, patriotic guys fighting this war, wanting to do the best for their country, and then they don't come back. Then you've got mums, dads, children. One of my friends lost their life in Afghanistan. They never got to see their son. And guys, when you step back from this, like I have now, I'm out of that military-industrial I'm sort of out of that military-industrial complex. I mean, I still give you videos and give you guys analytics. You think, what was it all for? I mean, we handed Afghanistan back. So what was the point in going there in the first place? And, and it comes back to what I was talking about when you see people on the news or these, they've got these maps up and they're saying there's been heavy firing and there's been this many casualties. You're like, I always think of the human cost and the families and the crying and the tears and the misery that's caused. That's why, and David Lammy's coming out saying things like, oh yeah, when the Ukrainians win. What does a win mean, David Lammy? For the Ukrainians, what does a win mean? Are we talking, returning the 2013 borders? Are we talking returning to the 2022 borders? Are we talking 2013 borders in Ukraine with a 10-kilometer buffer zone on the border that's controlled by an international peacekeeping force? What do we mean by win? Equally, for the Russians, what do we mean by a win for the Russians? Because, guys, the Russians are pushing and pushing every day. They're taking ground every day. Sometimes, some days, it's more than others. That they're not going in the east of Ukraine, but they're not going backwards, guys. The Russians are not going back. They're not losing ground. Yes, they've lost a bit of ground in their own territory, and nobody can take away from the Ukrainians what they actually achieved. That was a massive blow to Putin. But it's kind of like, you could argue it's a double-edged sword for the Ukrainians in the context that they've had to invest a lot of their soldiers, a lot of their machinery, a lot of their logistics in that region. And because they've had to do that, they can't invest those logistics elsewhere. So, so what do we mean by win? Because, guys, Putin knows if he gets pushed out of Ukraine and suffers a loss, it's the end of Russia. It's the end to the Russia that we know. It will be balkanized. There will be different independent states emerge. The Chinese will take a bit. Everybody will take a bit of Russia. And like Russia will probably be resorted to something looking like that resembles Moscow, St. Petersburg, and then there's that like northern region up to the Arctic. So, you know, Putin knows what's at stake. Also for the West know what's at stake. If they let Putin have his way in Europe, in Ukraine, it kind of means the end to the dollar. It means the end to the EU, and it certainly means the end to NATO. So both sides here can't back down. And like I gave you guys the analogy about when you're taking your kids camping at summer, if you can tell your kids all you want, you're not going camping, all right? If you're buying camping stuff, tents, sleeping bags, boots, all the rest of it, you're going camping. Look at what countries are buying. Look at the amount of munitions Poland's bought, guys. It's unbelievable. So, you know, when we're talking about moving forward, guys, that is it. Just remember, while everyone's focused on the Middle East, the West prepares for the UN meeting Tuesday, with the Storm Shadow missiles. You don't look a day over 70. Is that for me, is it? I don't look a day over 70. Guys, I'll have you know I'm 61. No, guys, I'm joking. I'm 40. I'm 42. 42 this year. Guys, I've been going 5 minutes over. Guys, we're going to be going live tomorrow. I'm going to cut it now. Storm Boris is hitting Italy and coming as a remnant to UK. It's his hair. I don't know if that's like some sort of code. Storm Boris. Is that like? Is Storm Boris a real thing? Is Storm Boris a real thing? Are we talking about Boris Johnson here? I don't know what that is, but I know there is a storm coming to the UK. Guys, I'm going to close that down now. I know there is a storm on its way to the UK. Let me just have a quick look when it is. I think they've for Friday and Saturday, so tomorrow and the day after, with like loads of rainfall due. I don't know if that's Storm Boris. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go. Make sure you've got some food, you've got some water, you're prepared for what's to come. I'll be back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Guys, I genuinely hope you guys are going to be back as well. We're going to have a Friday night show, 8 o'clock, the same, and I'm going to do an 8 o'clock live every day this month. We're going to see where it goes, see how much we can build. Me, you, everybody, guys. Let's get as many people involved as we can. Guys, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe if you guys haven't. We'll be live tomorrow morning on our other platform. And guys, you guys have been great. Your comments are fantastic. I love reading each and every one of them. Guys, I'm going to cut it now. This video will upload. I'll then go and put the links to what we've been talking about in the description, so you guys can click on them. You can understand what I'm talking about. You can make your own analysis. Remember, guys, these videos are a lot of my own speculation, my own analysis. I show you links that I'm getting things from, so we can understand what's happening in the world. Guys, nothing's hidden anymore. We just need to know where to look. Make sure now you go, you all look who Lord, Lord Ali is. Look at his connections. Look at his background. Look at the people he's associated with. Look where he made his money. Guys, the rabbit hole is deep. Go down it at your own will. I'm going to back to grid, guys, and I'll speak to you later.